What's up, you guys? I hope you're doing well. Welcome aboard a new video. It's a couple of weeks until the new season begins in Bahrain, and I thought it's a good moment to give you my 5 reasons to follow F1 in 2021. So let's get after it. First of all, I can tell you guys there's history to be made this season. Obviously, Lewis Hamilton, he holds the record for most pole positions and wins out of any driver in F1 history, and at the moment he is actually evens in terms of drivers' world championships with 7 to his name, a record which he shares with the great Michael Schumacher. Lewis Hamilton will be looking to clinch his 8th world title, which would make him the most successful driver in the history of the sport, measured in world championships. Now, I don't care if it's F1 or some other sport, having a multiple time world champion in any individual sport be crowned with more world championships to his name or her name than any other, that is always a remarkable achievement and a remarkable moment also in the history of whichever sport it is. So if and when Lewis Hamilton manages to achieve his 8th world championship, that is definitely a moment that will live on, that would live on in F1 history forever. And time will tell whether Lewis Hamilton actually achieves this 8th world title, but Lewis Hamilton's charge for an 8th world title is one of the reasons that makes F1 worth watching in the upcoming season. So keeping to the subject of Lewis Hamilton, guys, we might have a couple goodbyes this season. Lewis Hamilton obviously only with a 1-year contract extension with Mercedes, and Hamilton also is coming to an age where he might be considering retirement, especially if he wins his 8th world title, something that he has spoken about openly, his interest to do other things as well than just race in Formula 1. Now, another veteran, Kimi Räikkönen, probably will be driving his last season in F1. A legendary, iconic driver, obviously. Kimi is from Finland, so he is a Finnish favorite, but also has many millions of fans around the world. And Kimi also is entering his last season of his current Alfa Romeo contract. Now, we don't know yet if this is going to be the last dance for Ferrari's most recent world champion, but considering the age that Kimi is in and also him being a family man, it's possible that we will be seeing not only 1 but 2 huge goodbyes in F1 at the end of the season. And, you know, whether you like Kimi Räikkönen or not, whether you like Lewis Hamilton or not, in recent years myself, I've taken the perspective of let's just enjoy watching these guys drive as long as it lasts, because it won't last forever. And these are the kind of guys that many of us F1 fans are going to miss when they're gone. Another extremely interesting battle is going to be the midfield battle between the constructors. Now, something that many F1-minded people are saying, which I totally agree with, is that most probably Mercedes and Red Bull will be going into the distance as the 2 best teams in the season. But behind Mercedes and Red Bull, there's going to be an extremely tense battle for that 3rd place in the constructors. You have Ferrari, Aston Martin, McLaren, and Renault with almost nothing to separate them. So it's really hard to call which of these teams is going to be 3rd best after Mercedes and Red Bull, and it's probably going to be a battle between these 4 teams all the way until the wire, and it's going to be 4 teams, 8 drivers racing in those teams. It's going to be really thrilling to watch the so-called Formula 1.5 in the upcoming season. Guys, we have question marks going into the season. They are huge. They are plenty. I'm talking about the drivers on an individual level. Now, we have different kinds of really interesting stories. We have Fernando Alonso, the 2-time world champion. After a break of a couple of years, he has now returned to F1 and returned to Renault, which is no other than the team where he won those 2 world championships back in the days. In addition to that, we have Daniel Ricciardo, who has joined McLaren, and he was racing for Renault last season. He essentially is taking the same steps as Carlos Sainz has taken, which was Carlos Sainz also raced for Renault first, then McLaren, and now obviously he is with Ferrari. It's going to be really interesting to see what Danny Ric can do with that McLaren car. They had an excellent car last season. Daniel Ricciardo had an absolute banger of a season with Renault. So while he is a question mark, I have very high expectations of him this season. And it all basically comes down to obviously McLaren car performance, but also how quickly will Daniel Ricciardo be able to adapt to that McLaren after racing for Renault the last couple of years. Last but not least, guys, is the rookies. We have 3 rookie drivers driving their first F1 seasons this upcoming season. The Haas partnership of Nikita Mazepin together with Michael Schumacher's son, Mick Schumacher. And then you have Yuki Tsunoda racing for AlphaTauri. These guys are hyped, they're talented, but they've never raced in F1, and I'm sure that they will have to go through the learning curve and walk those steps. Perhaps it's going to be a bumpier road for some than it will be for others. Time will tell. And while most of the talk is on the Haas partnership of Mazepin and Schumacher, I must say that based on last year's car performance, actually, Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri will be driving the best car out of these 3 this season. Alright guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you got even more enthusiastic about the upcoming season. As you can see, there's plenty of cool stories going on in F1, loads of things to follow in the upcoming season. Don't forget to give us your feedback, subscribe to the channel to get notifications whenever a new video appears. I wish you a great weekend. Talk to you soon. Cheers, guys.